Um, hey guys. So, I have a theory that no one asked for whatsoever. But it has been bothering me for quite a while, and by a while I mean since last night. So that question that I have, that I wanted to answer today, is what is this mask, in universe that is, even meant to be? No, seriously, what is this meant to be? Of course, in the series, there are different versions of this mask. Of course, there's one that you see in the original movie, or this one. But let's take a good look at some of but the thing is that, there are two anomalies. So I have some images of both of them. So the first anomaly that we see is the Ben Tramer mask in Halloween 2. Now the question is, okay, so this one is silver and has blonde hair. Well, not blonde hair, more like just white hair and the silver mask. But relatively pretty much the same. The real problematic things come into play when you notice the most actual anomaly thing ever, though. And it is the good old, pink and blonde mistake mask from Halloween 4. They're looking at each other. But, so, you can see here, though, that is very clearly a different mask, but it is the same general feel of the original mask. Whoa. You can see that there's that mask. Then here's Ben one more time. So you can kind of see here that there are some anomalies here. So, it will not... So the first major component to this theory is the fact that in Halloween 3, we see a TV commercial for the original Halloween. Now, of course, obviously, that movie isn't canon to the current timeline. It maybe is my first part of this theory, is that it may actually be part of the timeline. Because in Halloween Kills, we see a couple of the silver shamrock masks, namely the skull. But the thing is that it's a silver shamrock mask, meaning that Halloween 3 events certainly do happen in the main timeline. But then that throws a huge wrench into the plans. Well, actually not plans, the timeline, when you realize that in that movie, the Halloween movies are just that, movies. So what's going on here? Now, my first theory was that there is no plan for what this mask is meant to be, and that's the real life explanation as to why this mask is what it is. Because there was no plan for it, it's just a mask. But when you think about it in universe, though, once again, what is this mask? Like, many people have likened it to a ghost, and I see it. I see the resemblance. I certainly do see the resemblance. Hold it back far enough. I do see the resemblance to a ghost. However, the main reasoning behind this theory is these two. Now, the reason why this is so peculiar, though, is that in Halloween 4, we see Myers buy the same mask, well, actually steal the same mask in a costume store. So, what's up with that? So it's clearly not a custom, because it's on sale in stores. So then begs the question, what is the mask supposed to be? Now, my first guess was a ghost. Pretty simple, pretty straightforward. But the issue with that theory is that, well, usually ghosts don't really, have exposed skin tones, nor do they have brown hair with black streaks and spray paint all over them. So, you can probably see how that wouldn't work out. It would probably be a bald mask if it was a ghost mask. Or alternatively, if it was a ghost mask, hold up. If it was a ghost mask, then wouldn't it be similar to this? If it was a ghost mask, then wouldn't it be similar to, a ghost face mask? The thing is, those weren't really a thing, as far as I'm aware of, when the first Halloween came out. So then, begs the question, what is it? Now, it's clearly not a skull mask. That should be plenty obvious. It's very clearly not a skull. It certainly isn't. It's probably not a ghost. Now, another theory is that it could be Phantom of the Opera, judging by the shape of it. But it doesn't really have the iconic features like the kind of face that guy has. So that wouldn't really work. Like, the hair is almost identical, but the actual features are not. So then, I was like, well, it's not a witch mask. It's not a skull mask. It's certainly not a pumpkin mask. It's not a clown mask, that's for sure. Or maybe it is. We will get back to that in a second. But I did come to one conclusion, though. It's that this series of masks are meant to represent something completely different while using the same mold. So in other words, a lazy company. So we have this guy right here, which I'm saving my main theory as to what it is for later. This mask looks much better this mask looks very good on camera. I'll just like to add. But the main thing though is that so that one we will get back to in a second. But I want to talk about these two for a second. Weird anomalies that we noticed throughout the movies. So, Ben Tramer's mask most likely does actually look like a ghost of some kind. It is obvious to me that it's probably a ghost. It has like silver features, meaning it will reflect light very brightly, which is why it's so hard to find a good image of this guy. Of course, also in the movie, he's very far away, so it's not going to be easy to see him, but it's a silver mask with almost white hair, with like a yellowish tinge to it, so I'm going to guess that is a ghost. This guy right here seems to just be a generic mask of some kind, because we're looking not for the real life explanations, as we all know it was a late shoot and stuff, they grabbed the wrong mask, but we're talking about in-universe explanations for this stuff. So, this mask right here, my running theory is that it's maybe just meant to be a generic serial killer mask. But now we get to the main point of this video. What is the Shape's main mask supposed to be? Well, my theory, it's a vampire mask. Think about it for a second, okay? Pale features, a roundish kind of head, some very dark hair that's like slicked back, and also some exposed skin tones within even some of the movies, noticeable makeup. Of course, there's not much on this one. I just added some shading to highlight shadows and stuff, but in some later ones though, like Halloween 6 and Halloween Resurrection, noticeable contouring. That seems to be kind of a vampire kind of trait that a lot of vampires tend to, wear. So that's my main theory. My secondary theory as to what that mask is supposed to be is a clown. Now that's a strange guess, because there's none of the features. But then, this holds more reason, but this theory also does hold more reasoning for these two. Now, my point here is that the masks are supposed to be blank slates. Just like a mask you can buy at the store specifically to customize. Heck, maybe like it's even just a type of mask that you're meant to customize, and they're like blank slates. There's one that's white with dark hair. There's one that's just skin tone with light hair, and then there's a white one with light hair. Maybe they expect you to draw the clown makeup on yourself. I mean, like, it's clear there's obviously skin tones exposed on them. So what gives? And what conclusion do we draw from this? It's that the filmmakers didn't think that far ahead when it came to the masks. However, in its more grungier states later in the movie, this one is mainly the hallway scene, what this mask is mostly based off of. You can see the hair is a slight bit darker. It's also a little bit more frizzy, and the hair is few and far between. A lot more damage has been sustained. It's very grimy. The inside of the mouth is kind of messed up a little bit. It's a little bit stretched. Looks a little weird. It's an interesting mask, I will say that. But, like, you know, later in the movie, it does pick up more damage, which probably explains the inconsistency between Halloween 1 and 2. It's just from being shot off a balcony. From, like, a second-story window. Why did I just go on a tangent as to why his mask is grimier? But, literally, the only thing that I think the mask is missing is teeth. It's just missing two little things, and a little bit of blood leaking from its mouth. But the thing is that I don't think the budget would allow for that. Of course, we could also always just go along with the fact that these masks, are just masks in a fictional movie franchise. Or, this is where the Halloween movies are just movies kind of comes into play. It's that the only movies that actually happened in the current timeline are Halloween 1978, Halloween 2018, Halloween Kills, and Halloween Ends. Those are the 4 canon movies in the current timeline. However, though, I kind of threw a wrench into that timeline, though, with Halloween 3 now being part of that somewhere. But I don't think that's truly the case. You see here, because of the fact that there's the TV commercial in Halloween 3, that means that all 4 of these movies, or at least the first one, is completely thrown out the window, leaving just these 3. But then, if this one's thrown out of the window, that means all of them are thrown out the window, except for Halloween 3. So, I can't believe this is where this theory is going. But Halloween 3, if my theory is correct, is the only canon movie in the entire timeline. Or at least that's what it may seem like. Since because Halloween 1 is a TV commercial, that means that this movie never happened. Or did it? See, my theory is that the only canon movies are Halloween, Halloween 3, Halloween Kills, Halloween 2018, and it ends. Why did I say that out of order? But, that is where the main kind of thingy comes into play. My main point of this entire video is to figure out what the mask is. But it kind of starts to go off the rails right here. Could you say it's going off the rails on a crazy train, perhaps? Also, is that too soon, perhaps? But also, it's simple as to what is going on here. It's that the first Halloween is a real event, but then similar to the Scream movies, there was movies that were made about the murders. Meaning that all 4 of them are still canon, but that also makes Halloween 3 canon. But, like, you know, the whole, like, making sequels about that, similar to Scream, is also strange. Because why would you really do that if it's based off of a true event? Why would you make sequels that are completely made up, including making the main victim of the story, you know, the sister? It doesn't make sense. But that's my theory, is that Michael Myers is wearing a vampire mask, without fangs, noticeably, but also is, in fact, a movie character in the main franchise. Meaning that there's this weird inconsistency where Halloween is a movie inside of Halloween, and then Halloween, and then Halloween kills, and then Halloween ends. Also, can we just talk about the fact that in 2018 and 2019, the only 2 canon movies in the timeline were Halloween and Halloween? That's kind of funny. Like, why didn't you just call it Halloween? Why wouldn't you just call Halloween 2018 Halloween 2? Oh yeah, it's because Universal had already made a movie called Halloween 2. Anyways, Sia also stare deeply into his soul. Look at him. Oh look, it's Donald Pleasance anyways.